bum to this song, but then you start catching a vibe. I'm sorry, not sorry. Yeah. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, 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 gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know.
What's going on, Beaches? Welcome to the Sunday Funday Q&Anus. Welcome to the Q&Anus.
You know we stay stuntin' right up in your face.
Yes, sir.
We not sorry, we just stuck up in our ways. West Coast gon' have stand up. Put that glass and hands up. Gang, 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 we famed up.
Willkommen, everybody. Hello.
I'm like I'm wheezy, yeah. Rap game just too easy. Drip so sick, I'm queasy.
Whoa.
Walk to the line, good versus evil. God in his prime, always in prime, always on time. Our time to shine. Wifey is fine, I'm doing fine. Glad that you asked. God fill me up, mud in my glass. God clean me up, all that I ask. Wherever you headed there fast. I am ahead, you are in last. Last time I checked, you were all gas. Gas in the whip it up fast. Fast and all furious, I'm starting to spaz. Getting all curious, you put me on blast. Blasting that Darius, kids in the back. Back to the future is black. Black like T'Challa, Wakanda attack. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang, gang. East Coast with the gang, gang, gang. West Coast with the gang, gang, gang. Lower with the gang, gang, gang. You know we don't play gang.
All right, what up? What's up, Jebel, Savin, Amy, Miss Zombie Angel. These names, look at these names. Bam, 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 chicka, bam, bam. What up, gang, gang? What up, Yaz Booshes? What's up to the Beach Parade? Time to get this party started, motherfucker.
The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the bacon is sizzling. Welcome to the Daily Swole.
Testing, testing, testicles, testicles. Oh, welcome everyone to episode 1066 of the Daily Mother Swole, the most muscular swolecast, beardcast, broadcast, gamecast, mancast, pimpcast, sleazecast, and slaycast in the realm. Because when I flex, you flex. We all flex our biceps. Welcome to the game train. We are here for some amazing Q&Anus, so we'll get right into that brown eye. We'll get right into the brown, right into the A. If you want some A, you've come to the right place. Oh, make some gains down by the bay. What do you say? We just may. A little homage to Happy Gilmore there. Welcome to Sunday. Welcome. Hi, podcast peeps. Thanks for listening in on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud. Not so much SoundCloud anymore, but more Spotify. Those of you that are listening to the Google Play, anywhere you catch the podcast, we are available everywhere. You can catch the audio gains everywhere, anytime, any place. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe and follow the show. And you can turn on your post notifications to get notified when I go live, because you need to be on your toes. You need to be ready. You need to be ready for the big time, baby. You got to be ready for Papa Swolio. So we are live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Instagram, Twitch, everywhere for the gains. And I'm excited to get into this Q&Anus. So we got a lot of questions. I'm going to start with Instagram today. Those of you that are watching live, you can drop your questions in the comments now, and I will get to as many as possible. Some of the new stuff, you have to go check out the latest Ask Papa Swolio, and also on YouTube. But also, I'm bringing in some of those questions for Instagram posts and Facebook posts. So I'm adding a little bit more content, a little bit more flavor everywhere. I'm trying to spread the wealth and make sure that everyone sees these videos, because I know your attention is split. I know you're looking in a lot of different places. So I'm always trying to think of a different way to provide you with this content, to provide you with some more depth or some more context, because you might not use YouTube, or you might not use Instagram, or vice versa, or you might just check me out in the stories. And I know a lot of you follow a lot of people, so I want to make sure you pick up what I'm putting down. I want to make sure that you see what I got to offer and what I want to tell you. So I want to tell you some things. I want to tell you a thing or two about a thing or two. However, I'm going to let you ask me a thing or two about a thing or two. So we do this every Sunday. If you're new to the podcast, Q&Anus. Q&Anus. So if you see these posts, make sure, I'll bring up the post. When you see this post for Sunday Funday Q&A, when you see that post on my Instagram, when you see that, or on Facebook, make sure that you drop your questions in the comments below. We do the same thing for the Ask Papa Swole on YouTube. So anytime you see me prompt for a question, drop it in there, because I usually get to that. If not now, it could be in the next couple days, could be in the next couple weeks. I always go back to older videos and older posts, and I pull questions that we never got to, because there's so many everywhere. So make sure you just ask and be patient. Keep on asking, keep on tuning in. All right, now that's out of the way, and we got all started. Do I recommend? Let's start with a couple live questions. Kelly City. Do you recommend the keto diet? I think the keto diet is a very valid option. I don't necessarily think it's good for long term. And unfortunately, most people do it improperly. They just think, oh, I'm just going to eat a lot of fat, and they eat a lot of junk food. So just like vegan, you could do a junk food vegan. You could do junky keto. You could do shitty keto. Whatever you decide to do, you got to do an elimination first and figure out what foods your body reacts best to. And then you can decide maybe better off, because some people are not made to digest high levels of fat. They're not good with it. So if you say, hey, I'm going to do keto, everyone's losing weight on keto, and then you're not one of those people that should be having high fat content in their food, maybe you're just not, your body isn't optimal when you're consuming a super high fat diet like keto, and you're just going to bang your head against the wall and be miserable. So I don't want that either. So make sure you're not just following the leader. You're actually, going after your nutrition the right way. And that just that's a good option after you figure out what foods are best for your body. In the gym, how many minutes between reps? I think you mean sets, because repetitions, that's just like up and down, and then another up and down repetition. How many minutes between sets? That depends on your goal. If you're doing more endurance, it's shorter rest. That's why people do high intensity interval training or circuit training for more endurance. If you want more strength, you rest longer. Hypertrophy is a little bit in the middle. You can build muscle in so many different ways. So that's where people get confused when it comes to actual building muscle, because you can build muscle with short rest. You can build muscle with longer rest, because all those aspects are components of strength. You could build muscle with it's all relative to where you're starting. You could build muscle with 10 pounds. You could build muscle with 50 pounds. It depends on how strong you are fundamentally. It's not about the absolute weight. It's about the relative weight and the time under tension. There's many different ways to build muscle. That's where there's all these debates that aren't really necessary. You could build muscle in many different ways. Question, how much do you love tacos? Scale of 10 to 11. I can't answer that question because I don't love tacos like that. I don't care about it. I like the meat. I just don't need the crunchy chips and the processed carbs and stuff from it. Nice, Andre. Just did my Swolga. I'm going to do my mobility now. Missed yesterday, so doing both today. Sweet. Dirty South. Gangsta. What's a good food choice to test wheat gluten on elimination diet? Anything with wheat or gluten in it. Bread. If you're testing it after you eliminate it for like 6 or 8 weeks, I mean, wheat or gluten, that's a good food choice. You test that product. You test wheat and gluten is in so many fucking things. That's the issue. That's why most people have issues with weight loss, because they're consuming foods that are in ingredients that are so many of their foods, because they're not monitoring what they're putting in their mouth. I've been either on keto or elimination for so long, I don't know what to eat to test sensitivity. Okay, so in elimination, you can stay on something like that forever. Elimination just means you're eating certain things, but the right process of elimination is in order to test. But after that, it's just your diet. Your diet is the way you eat. The diet is the way you eat. That's it. That's what a diet is. It's not something restrictive. I don't like using the word negatively. Diet is fine. I have a diet. Every single person on earth has a diet. Some people have a random junk food diet, and some people have a really healthy, clean diet. And everyone's diet is going to be different. Can you do too much cardio? Yes. Are BCAA supplements necessary, or can get no? BCAA supplements are a fucking waste of money. You don't need that shit. Why we never heard from Mama Swole to go get a girl, to get a girl perspective on things. A girl perspective on things. Ask yourself that question. You need a girl perspective. There are many fitness influencers that you can talk to. There are many fitness influencers that'll be happy to answer those questions. They'll be happy to sell you a booty program while they're at it too. Swedish tacos. I do like the components of a taco. I just don't need the chip. I don't need the corn. God, we got way too much corn. We have way too much corn. We're surrounded by corn. There's corn and everything. All right, let's take some questions. Keep on asking your live questions, and I'll get to as many as I can. And we'll start with the Instagram post, the Sunday Funday Q&A post. We'll go with first come, first served. So, making seconds of a fucking day. K. Dickey, apart from yoga, do you recommend specific exercise for a person who had surgery to fix scoliosis and has 2 metal bars in the back? I would say apart from yoga, any kind of core strengthening exercise. Total body awareness training for those of you that are in Swole Enormous X, stabilization exercises are great. And, you know your body better than I do and what your limitations are. But if you have metal bars, obviously it's going to limit the mobility in your back, depending on how that surgery was and the purpose and how long those bars are and what they limit the mobility of. But, even if you have surgery, and even if any of you have surgery and you have a knee replacement or a hip replacement, a lot of times people ask, well, what should I be doing now? What should I be doing now that I had this surgery? What should I be doing now that I have an artificial hip? Or what should I do now because I have a knee reconstruction? It's like you should be doing as much as you can to mimic how you move as a human being. Now, if you have an artificial piece in your body, you might move differently. You might have certain limitations. However, if you walk differently now because you have ankle or hip or back surgery, it's going to make other muscles react differently. So you might get less glute activation, which could cause other problems. Just because you have a surgery and now your back feels better or your knee feels better, it doesn't mean that it's going to feel better for long, because other things might compensate now if you're not doing therapy properly, you're not doing your training properly. That's why yoga is so great, because of the mobility aspect and the whole total body interaction. It's really good to do yoga to eliminate the risk of having imbalances. That's a really good way to keep that consistent exposure to all different types of movement and all planes of motion, front, side, twisting, upper body twisting, lower body twisting. You really get such a nice blend. It'll help make sure there's no gaps in your mobility, which is what you're going to lose, number one, when you get older, is your mobility and range of motion. Lisa Marie live on Instagram. My knees are hurting pretty bad from cardio. Could this be due to my low body fat? I do strength training too, but preparing for a competition, so lots of cardio is on plan. The now X. Okay, so that language trailed off really fast. Sure, it could be because of low body fat. It could be because of hormone imbalances. It could be because of doing just too much cardio and repetitive movement. It could be because of muscle imbalances. It could be hydration. It could be a lot of different things. And the body is very complicated. There's always many, many moving parts. That's why it's very hard to just pinpoint, oh, it's because of this. Well, it could be because of 10 different things. There are thousands of different things going on every fucking instant inside your body simultaneously. So it's not things happening in a vacuum. We're not doing things in a test tube. So it's a combination of everything. How are you sleeping? How's your nutrition? How's your psychological stress? How's your warm up before training? How's your, there's so many different ways. How's your running technique and your form? Most people are heel to toe runners and they're slamming on their knees all the time, which will jack up your knees sooner or later. People are fucking moving fundamentally wrong when they're running heel to toe. And people do that all the time. They get big fluffy sneakers and they run heel to toe. And it's just a matter of time or how long your body can hold up before you get pain, because you're sending shock waves through your body, because you're not running the way your body is designed. So there could be many different factors. All right. What's up, dude? That's too long of a question to read out loud, but let's see. Oh, you got it. Okay, there's a trucker question. There you go. Good. There you go. You're getting it done. Getting it done no matter what. Good job, Alberto. Good shit. What does yoga do for your fitness? Everything. Absolutely everything. That's way too long of an answer. It does absolutely everything for your fitness, psychologically and physically. So you can Google that. It's amazing. Do it. All right. Martin Norin 58 on Instagram. Thoughts about alcohol? Alcohol can be tasty. What are my thoughts about it? What the fuck does that mean? Come on, give me some depth. Is alcohol better left alone, or is it okay? Once in a while. Is it killing the gains? It's not helping the gains. Too many calories, etc. Yeah. 7 calories per gram. I like my whiskey, but maybe I should stay away from it. I like whiskey. I just have it. The problem is when people have all these crazy mixed drinks. If you have a little bit of alcohol now and again, a lot of people are sensitive to gluten. So when you have beer, it's going to fuck you up. That's why most people have bloated stomachs, and most people feel bloated and sluggish and gassy after drinking beer and alcohol, because they're reacting to where it's coming from and what's in it. I personally like having some whiskey. I don't really get super tipsy. Of course, if you drink a lot of it, but I don't drink a lot. But if I have a little bit of whiskey, that's fine. It's fine for me. My body can handle it. My body reacts well to it in terms of I don't get hungover. I don't get dehydrated. I'm not drinking to get drunk, even if I have a drink. And there's no extra added stuff to it. I'm not putting tons of orange juice, which is just pretty much sugar water. I'm not putting in tons of soda into it. So when you're having mixed drinks, you're just sucking down hundreds of calories, and you're sending your body on a fucking hormonal roller coaster where you get those crashes, where you get that dehydration because of your body's misappropriation of hormones, because alcohol confuses the system in a way. Not to get into too scientific terms, but you dehydrate yourself. You also get a lot of liquid sugar calories, and then you get that crash. So you get hungry, and then you eat late. I mean, it's not a good look. But if you have a drink, you'll be fine. And of course, if you have a beer and you have intolerance to gluten and it fucks up your stomach and you feel like shit, and it fucks you up for the next day or two, and you're not working out well, and it affects everything and how you eat, you can see how alcohol could be in itself, right? We don't live in a vacuum. Alcohol by itself, one drink, you say, okay, it's this many calories. I don't have a sensitivity to this. I feel okay when I drink it. Okay, in that vacuum, in that question, in that little area of a concept, it's not a big deal. But usually when people, it's not the drink, it's not the fucking alcohol in many cases. Pay attention, fucktards. It's not the alcohol. And I'm calling everyone a fucktard because I just felt like calling everyone a fucktard. So if you're listening to this, yo, fucking McFuckerson. It's not usually the alcohol that's the problem. If you have a drink, okay, what's associated with that? You're out with friends, so you're usually having multiple drinks. You're usually mixing those drinks. You're having the drinks with appetizers, with other stuff that sucks. You're staying out late. You're fucking up your sleep. You're drinking too much. You're not drinking water. You're being dehydrated. You're not training that day. Then you don't train the next day. You make other excuses. Like, it's not just the drink by itself. It's everything else around it. And it's that path, because a lot of you will have, let's say you have a party night. Hey, you party. It's going to take you out for a few days. So it's not a drink one night. What do you think of alcohol? It's like a week of you fucking yourself up and recovering from it. So I think we need to stop pretending that you're having a drink. What do you think about alcohol? I think it's perfectly wonderful. I don't have anything against alcohol. I have issues with people making excuses to drink alcohol, that will complain about not getting results and drink and have a lot of drinks and mix their drinks and just be fucking fat fucks about it, not be honest with themselves and complain about why they're not getting results. And then you can get hooked on it, right? I mean, I'm not talking about addiction, alcoholism. That's not even about the alcohol. That's about your support system around you. That's just like the other triggers. A lot of people have that addictive personality that if it's not alcohol, it's something else. Okay. So it's important to understand that the chain reaction is usually, and what's associated with it is the biggest deal. Miss Zombie Angel, one bourbon on the rocks at a wedding or a birthday won't kill the progress. There you go. That's fine. It won't, but for some people it will. It usually doesn't, but for some people it could. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next question. Let's see. Hold on here. We got Jeb in the background. Hopefully, want to bounce out because it's going to get a lot of background noise. Oh, is it? Yeah. All right. Everyone say hi to Jeb. Say hi. Say bye. Bye. Let's see here. For a chest and back workout to be effective, do they have to be supersets, or can just doing individual chest and back exercises on the same day work as well? Well, it depends. It depends on your volume. It depends on what it depends on how you're doing, of course, chest and back. You can go back and forth. It depends on how much volume you're doing. I personally, if I was doing chest and back, I wouldn't want to do all chest and then all back. I would want to do supersets because it saves time. And plus, you get a great upper body pump. You get that push-pull effect. So it's wonderful, in my opinion. Sharp Guy Rob on Instagram, extra benefits of handstand push-ups, being able to do a handstand. Extra benefits? I mean, in terms of what? I mean, you're doing a handstand. So if you're doing it against a wall, I think a lot of people that do handstand push-ups should not, because they haven't done proper shoulder range of motion. They haven't done proper shoulder stability exercises. And a lot of people, when they're doing those handstand push-ups, because their shoulders are so internally rotated and they have that major upper cross syndrome, that when you do a handstand, you're getting all that mobility from your lower back. You'll see a lot of people doing an overhead movement, which is very common to be tight from the pecs and from the lats. When you go overhead, you're arching your back a lot to compensate. So you see people against a wall arching like crazy. And what that means is they're not getting that mobility from the shoulder. They don't have that mobility in their upper back and their shoulder girdle. They don't have that in their shoulder. They don't have that up top, and they're compensating, which could lead to friction in the shoulder, which could lead to like an injury or something down the road. So, I mean, it can have benefits. Sure. I mean, there's any type of exercise, but usually if you're able or you're trained and you're progressively trained for a specific outcome, for a specific exercise, you can handle it. That's why you can sometimes see those old guys in the gym. I've been doing behind the neck presses and pull downs for 50 fucking years. I've been doing it. I've never had a problem. You're going to tell me that's bad, blah, blah, blah. Well, they've been doing it for 50 years. So their shoulder has more range. Their shoulder is more open. They're able to perform those exercises without that same type of friction that someone might have if they've been sitting at a desk for 20 years and then decide to do a behind the neck pull down. They're going to have more friction than that dude that's been doing an exercise with that motion for 50 or 60 years. So a lot of that, the ability comes from the practice. So I'm a big believer that there really is no wrong motion. There isn't like the wrong thing to do for the human body. It's just what your body is prepared to do and what it's trained to do, what it's exposed to. So for someone who sits down at a desk for 30 years, in an office, most moves are going to be something that the person shouldn't do without fixing the imbalances to begin with. There are going to be a lot of contraindications for someone who's sedentary all the time, as opposed to, okay, someone who's a yoga instructor, or someone's been training for 20 years. That person is going to have different limitations and can be trained differently. It's just where you are in your journey. If you're an athlete, a pro athlete, you can obviously just jump into a hardcore workout that would put someone that's a beginner in the fucking hospital. All right. So you're going to have that. You have to understand where people are coming from in terms of their experience. Hippie Hartley on Facebook Live. What do you think about planks at the end of a workout? Stupid or okay? It's okay. Has nothing to do whether you're doing it beginning or end. It's not gonna harm you or hurt you. As long as you're doing it right and your form is good, it's a plank. It's as good as any time during the workout. It depends on so many factors. That's just like a vague question, but yeah, it's fine. A lot of people like to end with planks just because it's like a compulsive thing to do, which is nothing wrong with it. But if you're trying to improve something like a skill and you need to have good form, you should do all those things that you need to really work on to bring up, let's say body parts or things like that. You should do it at the beginning of your workout, generally when you're more fresh. It depends on how long you're working out, all that stuff. People should not be so sensitive with what the boss is telling you guys. What, people are sensitive with what I'm saying? Who's triggered? Who's triggered? No one's triggered here. Everyone's got a good sense of humor. I don't think anyone takes it that seriously, what I say. You do, but you don't. Look, anything that I say here is my experience, my opinion, my expertise, but a lot of it is like what I would recommend. Look, I'm talking to thousands of people right now, which is great. I'm thankful for it. So when I give an answer, I want to make sure it's not taken, or it's minimally taken out of context. And plus the questions that are being asked, they're not always super specific. So I can't give a specific answer with a general question. It's like, how do I get abs? It's not even worth answering that. Like, oh, I don't know anything about you. It's a silly question. It's too vague. What's the best part about being fit? Ugh, everything. Everything. Oh, I thank you, Juju. I appreciate it. Oh, loving for the swole. Just saying hello to everybody. Okay, you did that right. Okay, let's go to another question on the Shinstagram. Pal98, not a question, just saying, love the content, making my brain swoller. Also, can you make a Floki nuts on chin? I like it. Love it. Thank you, dude. Chris Awesombog on Instagram. Should I implement the prone cobra into the start of my back routine as an activator or at the end as a finisher? Either or both. It's the prone press is the prone cobra is amazing for core activation. It's great for the beginning. It's great for the beginning because you're getting your shoulder capsule, you're getting your shoulder joint, your shoulder girdle, you're getting that that activation and that coordination with those muscles and those underactive, those stabilizers in the upper back. Plus, you're teaching the body, squeeze the glutes, keep the stomach, drawn in and engaged during that range of motion. So it's a great total body type of activator before. You can absolutely do it as a finisher. As long as when you're doing the prone cobra, you are focusing on optimal form always, because you don't want to lose that neuromuscular coordination. You want to make sure that your body is always never cheating on that. You're not trying to add 5 pounds to get more weight. You want to make sure your form is always optimal. So it's great for both. Chris of Tougher. I may have missed it in an earlier topic, but thoughts and effects on intermittent fasting, good or bad? I'm totally a fan and in favor of skipping breakfast or eating with a time-restricted eating window. Intermittent fasting, I'm always careful to use terms, even though intermittent fasting could be defined, but how people define intermittent fasting and what people are aware of. Because there's so many people that use these terms. When you say keto, I have to clarify, okay, what do you call keto? Because a lot of people don't know what the fuck keto really is. It's a fad term and it becomes this thing that's larger than itself, and it's getting away from people. Anytime there's something popular, it gets away from people and they start using the term just casually without really even knowing what it means. So if I answer a question about intermittent fasting, I need to make sure that we're on the same page. So a time-restricted eating window, whether you're eating 6 hours a day or within 8 hours a day or 4 hours a day, find what works best for you. I think it's great for most people because it gets them eating less. And if you use my principles of eating the right shit fundamentally at the bottom of all these pyramids, fundamentally you're eating the best foods for you, then your personal style of eating, whether you want to eat 6 hours a day, 4 hours a day, 8 hours a day, within whatever window, that's on you. As long as you're eating the right foods and you're focusing on what foods you're consuming, I personally don't care and I have no issue, and there are only benefits to finding something that you could be consistent with. If you're eating the best foods for you, there's really so many options for you because you can, but I mean, restricted window of eating is great. It's great. And I usually do it. Ooh, loud cars. Skipping breakfast doesn't sound as slick. I know. If you skip breakfast, it's not as sexy. Intermittent fasting sounds it's a lot catchier. You can market that shit. Matcha Isley on Instagram. What are your thoughts on eating no fats until dinner? Healthy fats like avocado, coconut, eating no fats until dinner? I mean, we just talked about intermittent fasting, which could be eating nothing until dinner. Eating no fats until dinner, it doesn't matter. In all my experience, not saving it till later. If you don't eat fat in the morning, you're fine. I mean, fat might take longer to digest if you're not, your body isn't used to consuming higher levels of fats. But I mean, just eat your food. These are the details that people worry about. This is not going to make or break your physique, whether you have fats at 12 or at 6. It's not going to fucking do anything. It's not going to make a difference. Like all those little questions, oh, when's the best time? What should you eat before a workout? Like, what do you like to eat before a workout? Do you like to eat? I mean, these are the subtle differences. I mean, if you're going to eat before a workout and feel sick and have shitty workouts, you're not going to want to keep going and doing this and working out. You're not going to be consistent. You're not going to want to go. If you don't eat, you have great workouts, you feel better, you feel alive, you're more consistent, you're going to get more results long term. You got to customize some of these things. And I know you don't know this necessarily because you're not taught this, because out there, everyone wants to sell you something and sell you some fucking ideology. So I know you're asking for that reason, but that's why I go hard on those questions and I go hard on the answers. I'm like, you don't have to fucking manipulate your thing any specific way. If you don't like to eat before a workout, then don't eat before a workout. Simple. If you like to eat immediately after while you're leaving the gym, then fucking eat immediately after when you're leaving the gym. If you like to wait an hour, then fucking wait an hour. You see what I'm saying? What keeps you consistent? What's going to keep you on track? Done. Seal it. Signed, sealed, delivered, motherfucker. Know what I'm saying? Let's see. Cyan Genetics 89. Been training for 14 years and have noticed that one arm is slightly bigger than the other. That's common. Others don't really notice. What are some tips to correct the imbalance? Training that one more. Simple. Done. Train it more. You got to train it more. You got to do single, unilateral exercises, focus on it more. You might never, ever catch it up unless you really bias your training in more volume over the long term. It's going to take a long time because your body is one side dominant always. Jessica Catherine Fit, what are your thoughts on using supersets and giant sets with very little rest in conjunction with proper, you're talking about just cardio training. If you're doing a lot of supersets with very little rest, you're just doing more endurance. So you're going to sacrifice building some muscle. You may or may not lose weight faster. It's going to come down to your caloric intake, what foods you're consuming, inflammation, rest, all those other things. What do I think about it? For fat loss is that's not going to, more fat loss there than not doing shorter rest. Like that's not what fat loss is going to be determined by. Your body is always using fat when it needs to use fat. So it's going to come down to caloric value. It's going to come down to what those calories are made of. It's going to come down to your consistency, your rest, all those different things. Charles Albert Robinson, what's your take on 5x5 style of training? It's fine. It's a good option. It's a good place to start, and you do it. And if you're seeing the good results, you keep going. And if you're not seeing results you like anymore and you're not into it, then stop. SDK Evolution, what are the benefits, if any, by having a pull day and a push day? Have a good one. It's just a different way to split your training. It depends on how much volume you're doing and what your overall output is, right? If you're doing let's say you have 3 days to work out to do resistance training, you have to decide if you want to do push-pull, upper, lower, or total body 3 days a week. And this also goes down to how long you're spending, how much volume, how much experience, what your goals are. There's a lot of different ways. It's just a different method to split up your training. And of course, it depends on the individual, what your goals are. And like I mentioned, all those other variables that will determine how much volume and how hard you train and how much rest you have between subsequent workouts and so forth. Positive vibes. How do you feel about the vertical diet? I don't know the details on it, so skipping that one. Mint Seashells. How do you calculate calories intake when you're skinny fat, lack muscle, but also have some fat to lose? I would say you don't worry so much about it. First off, you can start calculating what you're actually doing already. How many calories are you consuming? Have you been gaining or losing weight? Are you tracking that at all? If not, how do you know to eat more or less if you don't know what you're currently doing? You can't change what you're doing if you don't know what you are doing. So you have nothing to compare it to. I would make sure that I would say personally, I would do an elimination. I would start counting and calculating and seeing what you're doing. I would start lifting weights and practicing yoga, and then adjust and weigh yourself every 2 weeks or so, and then see where you're at and then adjust accordingly. Okay, drop the calories a little bit or up the calories or increase. Then you can play around with the details, but make sure you're doing, consuming the right foods first, and make sure you're paying attention to the value of the foods you're consuming, not just the quantity. Pilates, what do you think? I don't personally practice it, but a lot of people love it. So what do you think? Sasha 91 Rose, how do you find good pre and post workout supplements? By going to the supermarket and buying real food and focusing on your nutrition, your whole food nutrition first. You don't need pre and post workout supplements. All right. If anything, you may like to play around with individual nutrients that you might be deficient in, depending on your genetics, depending on your diet, what you're consuming. Maybe you need more vitamin D. Maybe you need like some fish oil, stuff like that, which are always beneficial. But you don't need to worry about supplements. If you're asking that question, then I suspect that you're not really tuned in and dialed in on your nutrition and all the other aspects of your training first. And that could be just a supposition, but most people do not need to worry about consuming other things after a workout or before a workout. That's going to make a difference. Your dear friend, how many times through the week do you train legs versus chest or back or arms, or is it more like 2 days? It depends. How often do I train? Maybe once, twice, 3 times a week. Depends. It depends. It varies. So there's a lot of answers to that. So you can answer that in all different ways. But I train my body evenly. I make sure I don't miss anything. Your thoughts on CBD? It helps a lot of people. I'm all for legalization of CBD, cannabis, and all that shit. I think only the hard, super detrimental drugs should be illegal. I think people should do what they want. Opinion on weightlifting while high on THC? Do it safely. Don't be stupid. You can still make fucking mistakes and I mean, I don't have any data to back up like, oh, it's going to affect muscle growth by 20%. I mean, that's a personal preference. Just like anything, you wouldn't get drunk before you train. I mean, it might helps you focus more, but you can still make a mistake. Make sure you don't drop weights on your fucking foot or forget to unload half the bar and like the bar is unloaded half, and you fall. I've seen people make so many stupid mistakes. S15AW, my wife and I are both classically trained opera singers and have always been told that building up too much abdominal muscle could be bad for singing, saying the muscles may not be as, quote, flexible when it comes to breathing. Any insight on this? Absolutely fucking no insight. I have no idea. That's cool that you're a classically trained opera singer. I do not know anything about, I mean, any muscle can grow technically, or you can build up some kind of tolerance, but I have no idea how that would impact classical opera singing. So I'm not going to give you even a hint of an answer. I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction. I also don't know any like opera singers that are jacked either, but I've seen people that are like in great fucking amazing shape that can sing like crazy. So it might be just an individual thing. Homework. I'm coming to Miami in 2 weeks. What gym should I check out? No idea. No idea. I don't go around. I don't know all the gyms down here. I don't go to Miami. I'm in South Florida, but I don't like Miami personally. Not a big fan of like super crowded areas like that. Yeah. Google something. Go check it out. There's a ton of them. That's for damn sure. John No Flantar. Papa, you have to tell everyone your thoughts on creatine. You have to. I don't, but I will if you ask me about it. On creatine monohydrate, so much conflicting info out there. I don't think there's any conflicting. Where's the conflicting info about creatine monohydrate? Is there conflicting information? Creatine, it works. It's in meat. I mean, a supplement with creatine can help some people. Some people might not see as much of a benefit, but that's like one of the most studied, safest supplements. You don't have to load. You don't have to do any of that stuff. So that's not necessary. Good for you, K Gets Fit. Actually starting my fitness journey today. Good for you. Welcome. J Leon 127. What's more beneficial for weight loss? Low carb diets, not keto, or low fat diets where you consume the same measurements in fat while fasting? That depends on the person. You'll ask a lot of people about keto and they've lost a lot of weight. You'll ask a lot of people that do fasting and that didn't do keto that lost a lot of weight. So there are a lot of people that lost weight both ways. It comes down to eating the right foods. I would say do an elimination diet. Make sure you're cutting out gluten and dairy and you're testing all that over the course of a couple months. And then once you figure out which foods your body reacts best to, then you choose an eating style that fits your schedule and what you can be consistent with and what you can adhere to long term. And if you're trying to lose weight, you still want to have a manageable caloric intake that you are still exceeding with exercise, so you're losing overall mass. Now, that is going to come very easily when you're eating whole foods and real foods and you reset your taste buds, you reset what foods you're consuming, because then you're going to get full when you're actually full. You're not going to be spiking your insulin with crazy processed carbohydrates and all that shit. Do I have an opinion on loading collagen or a collagen supplement? I think I've heard good things about collagen supplements, but loading it, I have not heard about loading collagen. Let's see. Another keto question, skipping that one because we talked about a bunch already. Do you ever feel, quote, high from eating food? No. No, that sounds like a really good food. It sounds like that food ate a lot of weed. I had some salmon and walnuts earlier and felt this amazing clarity come over my brain. It was marvelous. My mind was glowing. Could just be from the high fats. That's why people take fish oil, and a high fat diet I personally prefer. So walnuts, tons of omega-3s, salmon, lots of omega-3s, and fish oil and things like that. So yeah, I mean, that helps the brain function. Elizabeth, Damed Chat, whatever. I want to start working with weights. I'm thinking about getting a set of hand weights as opposed to foot weights. I'm not sure where to start. The lightest 2 pounds feels like a feather, but I can easily lift to 8, but maybe not for many reps. What would be the best weight to start with? Depends on the exercise. I really can't tell you because, I mean, the lightest 2 pounds feels like a feather for a lot of people, but there are exercises that 2 pounds would be great for. Depends on what you're doing. Generally, you probably be good with a pair of 5-pounders, 10s, and 15s, depending on the exercise. Just get 3 different weights, or you get an adjustable one that you can choose. And don't forget, you're going to get stronger, so the lighter weights are going to be even lighter when you get stronger. So it's really hard to answer that That's why you might want to start with a couple different ones depending on the exercise. Logan Jador, how do you keep the motivation and mental strength to eat clean? Trash foods are literally everywhere, and after a night of drinking, I go crazy. Well, that's because you're setting yourself up for failure by going out and drinking a night of drinking. That's your fault. Okay? It's like saying, hey, whenever I jump off a cliff, I hurt my back when I land on the ground. It's like, well, don't jump off a cliff. You won't be hurt or dead. Okay? You go out drinking. What do you expect? Are you bringing your food with you, or are you just... I mean, if you go out drinking, you're out late. What's open late? Garbage food. So you're like punching yourself in the face and asking me why your face hurts. Disney Geek 1004. I will be having surgery very soon from a torn Achilles tendon, which will leave one of my legs in a cast. Ooh. What are some exercises you'd recommend to stay active while I'm unable to walk normally? Love the show and your approach to fitness. You're a huge help. Well, thank you, Disney Geek. So if you're in a cast, here's what's going to be, as long as you're cleared to do this and as long as you don't have any issues performing this without pain or risking your recovery. And I'm sure you'll have therapy and stuff like that too. But for me personally, if I had something where I was in a cast, that is going to make me walk different, if at all, right? You're going to be on crutches, or if it's like an air cast where you have to like walk and like limp, you're limping. You're changing your entire gait. So the muscle activation is going to be different. One side is going to get tighter or more loose than the other side. You're not tracking through your glute as much. So that glute on that one side with your damaged leg is going to get weaker. So you're going to have, contralateral instability, and that can lead towards back pain and shoulder pain down the road, especially even when you heal. You might still be walking differently from that improper gait while you had the cast on. So glute activation is always great. If you can do maybe some leg lifts, like, donkey kicks or something, if you're able to in your cast, like I said, check with your therapist and your doctor, make sure you're cleared to do those kinds of movements. But any type of glute activation exercise that you can do without pain or damaging your recovery would be recommended, in my opinion. What are some good forearm workouts that don't just help them look good, but help them build strength? Farmer's walks, deadlifts, raw deadlifts. For someone who has a healthy weight, is cardio a necessity for overall healthy fitness? I wouldn't ignore cardio. I do it for like 15, 20 minutes to warm up. Or I'll do sprints, or I'll do yoga, or I'll do like faster yoga flows or total body workouts. So, I wouldn't leave any stone unturned. You don't have to be a cardio junkie to lose weight. You don't have to be a cardio junkie to be shredded. You don't have to be a cardio junkie to be healthy, but I don't think you should be like huffing and puffing walking up a flight of stairs. Will working out every day hurt my results of weight loss and gains? How important is taking days off? Having recovery is important. So working out every day, if you're working out intensely every day, yeah, it's not good. You have to be properly recovering. Whatever your workout program is, you should be recovering properly. Is Papa Swole a gallon jug man, or do you use a water bottle? I use a Hydro Flask. Also, my phone really wants me to call you Papa Scoliosis. Oh, I get that. I used to get that spelled correct all the time. Papa Scoliosis. Papa Scoliosis. Fitness for Health 37 was someone that has overpronation and tends to roll on the outer side of the foot. You mean strike with the outer part of the foot? Would the 5-finger shoes help? It might expose that more. You have to figure out why you're overpronating. Probably weak anterior tibialis. It could be coming from your hip. It could be coming from your piriformis. It could be coming from your TFL, your hip flexors. So why you're overpronating? I would practice yoga regularly. I would do foam rolling and corrective exercise for overpronation. And you can start doing more barefoot stuff, but I wouldn't go barefoot running and then go cranking on it, because you're just going to smash. You probably easily get plantar fasciitis by just going into barefoot stuff and running. I don't know if you're a runner, but, a lot of people that are overweight or, just sit down a lot, have that kind of overpronation where your feet turn out. You tend to hit on the outer edge of your heel and you roll in on the arch and your feet turn out. So, that's very common. Chelsea Ashcraft. I don't know. Leah Craft, who knows? Don't laugh. I struggle to complete 3 sets of 10 reps on the Cybex fly machine with 35 pounds of weight. I'm not going to laugh because I have no idea. Is that even normal? Obviously it is for you. It seems so light. The crazy thing is I'm seeing changes in my upper body muscles. So, I mean, if you ever use machines, you know that the weight listed on a machine on one machine is going to be different or feel different than another. So I don't know, with 35 pounds on a Cybex fly, there's like 13 different types of Cybex fly machines. I'm sure there's all different models. So I have no idea. I'm not there to see you do it. I don't even know if you have good form. I don't know if your seat's at the right height or anything like that. So 3 sets of 10 reps, you struggle? Good. You should be struggling when you fucking lift. You're lifting weights to break down muscle tissue to progressively overload. If it's easy, then you're not making progress. It's called exercise and training. Good for you. Keep going. Charisse Aron. Warming up before a workout, does it really make that much of a difference? Yes. If so, how? Why? Raise your body temperature, gets your sympathetic nervous system turned on, gets your heart rate up, gets your body primed for exercise and mobility. I don't always have time to warm up or cool down, but I will try to make some time if absolutely necessary. If you don't warm up, you're just risking injury. It's like turning on a car and then slamming on the gas. You want to let it warm up. There's a reason why professional race cars go around the track like a billion times and they tune things, right? Every time you warm up, it's not just, okay, I'm warming up. You're getting mentally ready for your workout. You're also assessing your body. How do your knees feel today? How does your back feel? Sometimes certain areas need more attention, need more mobility. So every time I warm up, it's my process of, okay, how do I feel today? And if I'm feeling a little bit sore or tight, I might not do as many, like I might not do heavy barbell rows if I feel a little bit stiff. I might be like, okay, let me do some cable rows or something else or pull-ups to open up my body. Maybe I'll feel like that second exercise or, or okay, I'm feeling really tight from my leg workout. I want to do back today. So let me do some pull downs. I'll focus on some different movements today because my body is in an optimal position where I don't psychologically feel like doing a heavy compound movement. So it depends. I was thinking about starting your 3-month program. Is it a program or is it just information on fitness? It's everything. It's full programs, and it's tons of workouts. There's a whole workout archive, instructional video library. There are live masterclasses, a private community. There's a full yoga studio. There's virtual trainer where you can have audio workouts. It's everything. So I highly recommend you do it. There's no risk, 30-day money-back guarantee. And also, if you go on the site, it will list everything. And you'll see it's not just information. Everything is listed on my website, swolenormousx.com. So thank you for the question and highly recommended. And a lot of you watching and listening right now are members of SwoleNormousX. So that question was on Instagram, but you can also drop the comments on Facebook if you're loving the content in X. So new stuff coming too. New Swole classes and shit coming this week. Just my friend's been from out of town. Jeb was on the podcast and he's only here for another day or two. So there will be a lot more content. I'll be doing a lot more editing, even more than I'm already doing for that. So very cool. Let's see. I usually don't check Facebook. I post it on Facebook, but Facebook doesn't promote my picture to fucking people that follow my fucking Facebook page because Facebook doesn't show you things in the feed anymore at all. At all. They don't show you anything. And pictures get no traction. It's like the worst place to post a picture is Facebook. Where's my Q&A picture? It reached 400 people out of 100,000. Wow, great. Thanks for the organic reach, Facebook. Sean on Facebook, when my goal is to lose fat, I still lift the same as when I'm trying to build muscle or go more volume, lighter weight. My goal to lose fat and still lift the same. Your goal is to lose fat and still lift the same as when I'm trying to build muscle. So then lift the same as, if that's your goal to lift the same, then keep lifting the same and adjust your caloric intake. If you're trying to lose fat, you're going to drop your calories and stuff. You're going to be eating less generally, and you're going to lose some strength. When you lose size, you're not going to be quite as strong. You can still up the protein, all that stuff. Like, you're not going to be as strong when you cut down mass. That's why when you have these powerlifting competitions, like the lighter categories, the more you lift, it's like, oh shit, he's only 150 pounds and he's deadlifting 500. That's a lot more than someone who's 400 deadlifting 500, that relative strength. So you're going to lose some stuff. You have to make a sacrifice with anything else. You have to make a sacrifice. Just like anything else, you have to make a sacrifice. If you want to go to the gym, what are you doing? You're sacrificing sitting on your ass watching Netflix. If you want to lose some body fat, you're going to sacrifice some calories, right? You are going to sacrifice some strength. Like, it's just the name of the game. Especially when you're doing it naturally, you're not going to maintain a ton of fucking muscle mass and get shredded to the bone until you crash out and you need to refuel. That's why everyone that gets lean on stage, these professional bodybuilders, are still full and pumped up because they're taking anabolic steroids. And that keeps their hormones at an unnatural balance as they go hardcore into dieting. That's the only way they're maintaining that kind of muscle mass and fullness. It's because they're sending chemical messengers with the anabolic steroids. Steroids are chemical messengers. They're hormones that send a message in the body. And that message that's being sent around is maintain this muscle mass. Everything is fine. Look at these hormones everywhere. We're doing great. Whereas if you're doing it naturally, your body's like, we are starving. We need food. We need food. We need food, which is fuel. We need fuel. Where can we get it from? Let's break down some of this muscle tissue and get some calories and get some energy and glucose and stuff going so we can keep the body alive. And that's why when you go low carb and you start doing hardcore diets, what happens? You get flat as fuck. How many of you get flat as shit when you do those hardcore diets? Right? You cut down, you've tried it before, really low carb, really low calorie. You will get flat as fuck. You're not going to look pumped and lean. You're going to look skinny and flat. Skinny and flat. That's what happens when you diet naturally. That's why if you look it up. When you got a moment, go Google natural bodybuilding competitions. You'll see just emaciated. It looks like people that are just starved because that's what and you see the comparison. Oh, everyone's taking sauce in bodybuilding and like physique. You're like, oh, everyone's taking shit. Because when you see the comparison to natural, you have those genetic freaks and stuff like that, of course. But and people that lie and cheat the system, of course. But most of those natural bodybuilding and shows, when you diet down, people look like they're just unhealthy, sick, and like miserable, as opposed to like these pro shows where people are taking shit that's tricking their body. Facebook, they don't show much at all, not for hours after you post. Yeah, I know. It's just the name of the game. Organic reach is pretty much it's very dead for certain things. Videos get a little bit more traction, but I always post on both because I know a lot of you follow me there, but I can't make it so you can see it. You have to make sure that you keep an eye out and turn on the notifications. Juju, I have 2 questions. Is it possible for MCT oil to come from cocoa beans? I don't know. Cocoa beans, like chocolate? I don't know. Medium chain triglycerides, that's a component of coconut oil. I don't know about cocoa beans. Is 100% coconut water beneficial for the body? Like cracking open a coconut or drinking like artificial or like processed coconut oil? I don't drink any of those like boxed coconut waters, but if you have a coconut, yeah, coconut water is great. Like actual real from a coconut, you crack it open and drink it. It's fantastic. It's got like a lot of magnesium and potassium and stuff like that. Should you lift the same? You might have to change a little bit because you're not going to be able to lift the same, as my point. You're not going to be as strong. So you can try to do the same lifts. You can lose weight, you can lose fat by doing almost any type of training. It's just going to affect your strength when you diet. It's going to be your caloric intake that's going to determine your body fat percentage and your muscle mass and so forth. You can try it, but if you drop the weight and you don't focus on trying to maintain as much strength, you're probably going to lose more muscle mass than you would if you tried to lift as heavy and do the volume as possible. Like, I mean, the main thing is if you're doing any kind of dieting or cutting calories, just don't do it like, oh, massive caloric drop, because then your body will just crash out. Like, just only drop a few hundred calories and keep that for a week or two. And if you like where you're going, just continue it. And remember, as you lose weight, you have to drop the calories a little bit more. As you gain weight, you have to eat a little bit more. So it's just like it's kind of like a donkey following the carrot. Like, you have to just kind of tease your body. And if you do it slowly, you can monitor it and adjust. I just personally don't like to micromanage my intake. I don't like to micromanage like the details. I don't like to weigh things anymore. Like, fuck that. I believe I can fly. I believe I can make sick fucking gains. C2O water is great. Is that the one in like a metal can? As long as that metal can isn't laced with BPA or trash. I don't know. Some of them are in plastic bottles. Look, if there are good products out there and there are shitty products out there, and there are products that say they're good that are actually shitty and they don't tell you. And if you're not making it yourself, if you're not getting a coconut from a tree, you don't know exactly what is in it. So you have to have that level of trust. But I have nothing personal against coconut, like real coconut water. Good stuff. Good stuff. That was a good Q&Anus. We got through all the questions, I think, on Instagram. We got through all the questions. It seems like we got through all the questions. So let's see. Just a reminder, I will be posting another clip from Ask Papa Swole on Instagram today. There's going to be more content there. Also, go check out YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel for the latest. There was a Ask Papa Swole that I posted yesterday. If you didn't check it out, make sure you go check it out. And yeah, we'll get on to those Q&As. So anytime you see one of those Ask Papa Swoleos, I notice that people aren't commenting on Instagram. I don't know if you're not getting the notification, you're not seeing it in your feed the same way, or you think you can't comment because it's hashtag Ask Papa Swole. You don't have to only ask a question. So make sure you're engaging, make sure you're dropping your comments. Did you like the answer? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there something else you want to add? Do you have personal experience? So anytime you see those posts, make sure that you drop your comments. If you liked it, just drop an emoji. And, and I'll be happy to get back to your comment and I appreciate it. So just make sure that you don't always just have to ask a question, but if you want to be featured, make sure that you use the hashtag Ask Papa Swole in your questions. That way I can pull those from those posts and feature you. So that lets me know, okay, you have a question, you want to be on the show, and then I'll drop it in there. Last question. What exercise will help with carrying heavy shit in front of you, like heavy boxes besides deadlifts? Doing things like farmer's walks, doing things like you might like something, even though it could be painful for some people. I think it's what called Zercher squats, where you put it in your elbows and you hold it. Front squats are great, but things like that, you can hold the weight in front of you. That's usually very functional, like holding boxes. That'll be very similar, although boxes are usually awkward shaped. Medicine ball carries or sandbag carries, I'm sure, could mimic that. But a box is usually a big, one of the problems with a box is that it's a big size, so it's hard to hold and it's further away from you. So the further the weight is away from you, the more torque and the more you have to lean back. So it sounds like you almost want to do like Atlas stone training. So if you're doing a lot of boxes, that could be something that might be interesting to you. But if you fatigue those muscles by doing your training and then you go to lift a box, you can hurt yourself because your training fatigued you. So just make sure you don't overdo it. That was a great question to end on. Thanks, Sean. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Ask the Beard. No, this episode of the Daily Swole podcast, the Sunday Funday Q&Anus every Sunday. And make sure you stay tuned because we'll be continuously upping the ante and making this as engaging and as awesome a fucking podcast as possible. So thank you everyone for joining me for episode 1066 of the Most Muscular Swolecast, Beardcast, Broadcast, Gamecast, Mancast, Pimpcast, Sleazecast, and the Slaycast in the realm, because when I flex, you flex, we all flex our biceps. I will see you tomorrow for episode 1067 on a fucking Monday Swole day. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your beautiful Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow for 1067. Peace, McGee's fam. Deuce Magoose, your boy Papa Swole. Out.